Hasty zero is what we call a quick field zero. It is a short distance zero that gets you close enough for now where you're using whatever you have and the time you have to get something as accurate as possible. So in this video, I'm going to work with Anthony. Now, Anthony, this is the thing, is he's got some new equipment, and my goal with this was just to get him hastily zeroed so that way we could do the rest of the training. Later on, we can spend a dedicated day zeroing, right? And I have other videos regarding zeroing and some more details about that, but this is a quick down and dirty, you know, almost 50-yard zero, not quite, but we're really just trying to get it centered on a bull and enough for training. Now, when I mentioned about the skills needed to properly zero, this is what's important to understand. So these skills do depreciate, and if you don't work on them, or at least even think about them, then they're not going to just automatically like manifest, or they're not going to be as sharp as they used to be, right? So that being one thing, because it does take a degree of patience and consistency to zero properly. You have to replicate the same things over and over and over again. And if you're someone who's impatient or someone who gets caught in the weeds mentally, this can be difficult, right? There's also the mechanical marksmanship skills that you must have, right? You know, your body position, body alignment. The gun itself needs to be set up properly. Everything torqued down. Everything, you know, you don't want loose optics and things like that. You don't want to have any equipment that's like not set up properly. So if you've got scopes, optics, they need to be leveled. The rings need to be torqued down properly. So basically having all your mechanical hardware set up properly. Now, as far as a shooter, these are the skills you need to have. And this is a pure marksmanship skill, not combat shooting, not fighting, not performance shooting, anything. This is straight up mechanical stuff, is body position. You need to hold the rifle centered to the target where you're not putting in a lot of input to the gun, which means you're holding it tight, you're holding it steady, but you're not muscling it around. If you muscle it around, you're going to inadvertently move the gun. You've got to set it up, your body position, to where your breathing is minimally influencing the up and down of the gun. Sometimes you'll see people kick up a leg. What that does is get your diaphragm and belly off the ground slightly, and so your breathing has less of an impact on the movement of the rifle. Eye fatigue. If you're looking through an optic or a scope, you have a limited amount of time before your eye gets tired, right? So adjusting the optics, adjusting the brightness of the dot, your the diopter, to make sure that everything is clear as far as the target. All these things are things that you need to do first. Trigger manipulation is what? All you're doing, what I find, is you learn the trigger that you're using, right? If it's a lightweight trigger, know that you ain't going to have a lot of play before this thing goes off. So you need to have the shot steady and timed to when you pull the trigger and commit to that shot, the gun is tight to your body. It's not being muscled around, using bone support instead of muscle support, and you break that shot when you want it. Now, if you do the surprise, where you say, let's say like a one-stage mil-spec trigger, you're pulling through all the creep and mush until it hits the wall. You start hitting the wall. It'll still move before it really goes off, and you're timing your breathing to where at the base of the breath, at the full exhale, you squeeze just a little bit, and then you hold that pressure, breathe in, get some more air, breathe out, and as you breathe out, you squeeze more. So your sights or dot should settle on the bull as you pull the trigger, and it'll all happen at a certain time. And it may surprise you. And that's the benefit, is that if it surprises you, it doesn't give you a chance to add input into the gun, right? But that's one way to do it. Again, that takes patience to consistently breathe without getting the heart rate up, pushing the air out, adding the squeeze, holding it, repeating that process, and then replicating that every single time. Everything has to be consistent. You can't change your stock position. You can't change your shooting position. You can't fumble around. Your stock is a stock. If If it's out, it's out. It stays out, right? If you change it in the middle of a string of fire, or you have to change a magazine, you're breaking the consistency. The worst thing that I see people doing is shooting, then looking, shooting, then looking. Shoot your group, check it out after you get down to the target, right? Use around groups of 3 just to get approximations. If you ever throw a flyer that you're aware of, throw another one to offset it, right? And then look at your group without looking at the flyers. On your final groups, you want to shoot 5-round groups, up to 10-round groups to confirm. I'm going to highlight the important parts here, right? The mistakes that he's making or things that I'm noticing that's going to help him become a better shooter, may help you become a better shooter. I've got other videos on zeroing where I get more into depth, but really this is a high-level view with things. Look at that video. This video is things really not to do or things to look out for to help you build a consistent shooting platform, a consistent method of grouping, and also making sure that your equipment is properly set up. In this case, it'll be dot brightness and diopter. While the optics might be mounted properly, there's still more things to do. If you started getting into scopes, it's even more complex.
That's good. All right, so we're doing elevation. We want to go down. So down is, what do you say? We said down 8?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm gonna go a little bit more. 11. And to the right, we really want to say 3. Let's go 4, because we can always go back. Let's see, to the right is counterclockwise. 1, 2, 3, 4. Grab me a magazine real quick, and then donk it for me. All right, cool. These are what the primary arms, optics. All right, cool deal. All righty, whenever you are ready, sir. Give me 5 well-placed shots.
All right, I'm going to mention here that Anthony is shooting way too fast for grouping, for zeroing. Once you get closer to your final distances, you really want to make sure you're taking your time. Again, making sure you're consistent and every mechanical input into the gun is the same every time.
All right, so.
Needs to come back over.
Yeah, I think so. I think you shot a little fast there. I want you to slow it down. There's no rush on this. Zeroing always has to be very slow and patient and methodical, right? You're trying to stack all your rounds in this and stare at the dot, not at the red dot in the optic. All right, so we're gonna go back up. We're gonna go up, maybe 1, 2, 3. Right, it's okay because we're trying to account for height of a bore, so it'll be closer at 100, right? To the right, we did 4. We're gonna go back. And then let's see what that does. And then I want you to donk it real quick.
When you're donking these optics, give them a good donk. Otherwise, you're not going to unbind the gears.
All right. So get centered up. Make sure the gun is centered up on target, and then get straight behind it.
All right, I'm going to slow mo it real quick just to show you a couple things with this position. It's very common not to be centered up, and you end up kicking out to the side at an angle, which means you're not in line behind the gun. The recoil goes into the shoulder and moves the shoulder, and the gun moves more. Thus, you have to move the gun back into place. More movement is more inconsistency. Also, changing the stock position. Leave it as is. You got to check your length of pull before you start shooting.
Now, what I want you to do, right? This is just pure marksmanship stuff. Is now as you change your stock length and things like that, that does impact it, right? At this distance, probably doesn't matter, but just keep it consistent. I would say always keep it locked out for best leverage. So on this guy, right? Once you start putting pressure on the trigger, bring it back until you through the creep into the wall, right? You're staring at the black dot, not the red dot. And then as you breathe and it settles, right? You just add a little bit more creep every time. Breathe out, add pressure a little bit every time, and then it should go off at the base of your breath. So there's no rush here. Good.
All right, we're gonna watch him this reload here and
All right,
pay attention
shots.
to some of the
change
mistakes
the
that are
magazines.
made here, and some of the unfamiliarity, and that's just being rusty and not having time behind the rifle to do the stuff without thinking.
All right, that paddle for yourself. Put that paddle down.
Hmm?
Paddle with your left thumb. No, paddle with your left thumb. Paddle with your left thumb.
Oh.
Dealing with this kind of malfunction, the thing to do without thinking is, did you get a click or a mush? In this case, you got some kind of weird sound when you hit the bolt release. So it would be a perfect time for a rip drill, right? And what you do is remove the mag, lock it back, send the bolt home, insert the mag, and then rack it again. Why do you send the bolt home? What this does is when you rack it that second time, not only does it pull anything out of the chamber that's stuck, but it also loads a new round. So just having that awareness to where you can just respond quickly with a rip drill or a tap rack bang is something you definitely want to practice at.
All right. Good deal.
So
Let's
his
check
string
it
of
out.
fire was interrupted by the malfunction. This is going to build inconsistency both physically and mentally. Another thing is when you are zeroing, clearly marking your groups and plugging up any shots. My mistake here was not bringing the paster gun down. This adds a lot of visual complexity to what we're looking at, and it doesn't give a clear picture as to where his group really is or if it's responding to the inputs that we're putting into.
Let's go right. Let's go left. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think elevation's good. Give me your mag real quick. I'll donk it. Here, film me. I'm gonna put some rounds to it. And then I'm gonna put them up in the head. And then we'll see how mine compares. And then I'll patch him up and have you find another shot.
Ooh.
Brother,
You like that magazine? I mean, this right here?
The sling,
Yeah.
not preferably,
I'm gonna try something for you.
but on the other side.
Yeah. Yeah, even when it's on the stock, I want it on the outside. All right, here we go. Oh, the brightness is way high. You want to turn it shit way down for zeroing. All right. And then your diopter, you want to adjust to your eyes. Right, it's a little blurry. So make sure the target is clear.
So you want to have your brightness set as low as possible so that it doesn't obscure the bull, but it's also not so low that you're struggling to find it. Really, that's the big thing about the red dot brightness when zeroing. Find a safe place you can point the gun, look through the diopter, and make sure that the furthest distance thing that you see is clear. If your diopter's not set right, the target is going to be blurry. Combine that with a red dot that is too bright, it's going to look like ass.
Now, you try to put some in back in the bowl because we marked these other ones.
That last one goes probably pull to the left.
That's cool. As long as you can call it, it's all good. I would say it's 0, at least for me. Right, this is my group here.
Yeah.
All right, so we could see a demonstration of just marksmanship difference. Mechanically, I felt like the rifle was good to go. We're similar enough in body height, shape, arm length, etc., that it was going to be good enough for training. You know, this is something that Anthony will have to work on his own, which is his marksmanship fundamentals. And this is, again, why we call it the Hasty Zero. We'd want to tighten this group up and actually take it out to the full 100-yard distance and confirm there. Guys, thanks for watching again. Hope you liked the video, found it informative. If you did, throw me a comment, ask questions, make fun of me, make fun of Anthony. It doesn't matter. All good, and we'll see you in the next video.
Here we go. All right, good. 0.97. Stand by. We'll do 4 more. Stand by. Good. Think about the height of a borer. Everything is, you're accurate, you're fast. Just think about bringing that dot. What you want to do is put your eyes above the black circle and bring the dot to your eyes. Stand by.